For you to thrive as a human being, you need healthy human interactions. Good girl. Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. So in this week's conversation, we are going to discuss a very sensitive topic, like the difference between needs and toxicity. So recently in a WhatsApp group that I am in, we had a conversation about black tax. If you're not African, or if you don't have an idea of what black tax is, you're very lucky. This is basically like a return on investment of your parents or a community. Like if they raised you and then you get lucky, you get a job, you land a job, or your business thrives, you're giving back to the community kinda by force, but no one usually tells you to do it. You just find yourself doing it because sometimes it is the right thing to do. And you see, some people, because of things are getting tough currently, there's a lot of inflation in Kenya. Investors are running away, manufacturers are also running away, people are being rendered jobless every other day. So what this means is that the dependency rate of those that are in employment or having active income is definitely going to be higher. So these people are going to have some kind of frustrations because they are human. Remember that. Remember, they are working maybe so hard. If they're in business, they are toiling extremely hard to ensure that they meet their key performance indicators. And when you see at the end of the day you work so hard to give back to the community, it can be frustrating when you're not seeing value in what you're doing. In that conversation that we had on WhatsApp, like one of the things that came out clearly was toxic parents or toxic relatives or toxic friend. And I wanted to look at it from a different angle, from what majority of the people in that group wanted to see it. You see, sometimes someone might not be in a position to not ask for a favor. When someone is sleeping hungry, when someone does not have shelter, or their rent is due, they're going to be closed up, it's only normal for them to try and get their phone to see who can actually help. And if it's your parent and you have the capacity or the ability to help and then you don't, I am not judging, but that does not sit well with me. Everyone can lack. You see, the only thing that can actually stand alone on this planet is actually a mountain, because a mountain thrives when it's alone. Even things like trees, they need vegetation cover, they need other trees to be able to form a forest, and so does human. For you to thrive as a human being, you need healthy human interactions. As I have said, please underline the word healthy, because you're going to go down on things, toxic traits that you're supposed to avoid in your peers, in your families, or even in your relations, that may be dragging you down and slowing down your progress, success, or even thriving, basically like your mental health, physical health. I wrote up some things that I want us to talk about. There are only 4, so I'll make sure that, because I don't want this video to be long again. I want you, by the end of this video, to be able to understand and to differentiate between a need and a toxic behavior. What is a need? These are things that a human being needs to survive. Things like food. You need food to survive. If you don't eat, you'll starve to death. You've seen the Shakahola stories. Things like shelter. You need a house, you need a home to prevent you from getting too much cold at night, to be eaten by, maybe if you're living somewhere where there is access to wild animals. You also need clothes, because we are not living in Stone Age and you cannot walk out naked. You need clean water to be able to function in the best way possible. All these are things that you cannot do without if you are to continue existing on this planet Earth. Those are needs. In business class, we were told to differentiate between needs and wants. This brings the other category of needs. So there are those needs that you need, and then there is those things that you desire, like maybe having now a fashionable clothes. Like there is clothes, then there is the fashionable clothes, then there is the basic food, like you need a protein, you need a fat, carbohydrate, and vitamins. Then there's the posh restaurants for food, like you going out having dinner. Wants are things that you can actually survive with, but because of being human, we desire to have them. They are not a necessity. According to my classification of giving out and helping the family and the society and the relatives, you should not be giving out for wants. You're supposed to be giving out for needs, because you're the one who is working. If you desire the wants, every once in a while, to reward yourself, to keep you motivated to go to work, you might need to actually get one or two of those ones. And then you also have the psychological category of needs, is basically assessing needs in according to priorities, like something like maybe school fees versus business investment. Of course, if you have kids and they are in school and their fees is not paid, and you have a business idea that you need to invest on, most likely as a parent you're going to forgo your business and actually take care of the school fees. It's not a smart decision, but it is a necessary decision. We are currently in tough economic situation, so doing things like maybe foregoing savings to take care of your basic needs, or your mother's or your father's or your brother's or your sister's basic needs like food, shelter, should not be something that you feel guilty or you start categorizing them as toxic. That is the first point. You need to understand and actually come up with a list of genuine needs. The other thing that you need to do after that is actually identify toxic traits that put you off. You know, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect either. We all have some toxic traits. If someone tells you I have no toxicity, they are the worst pretenders on planet Earth. Tell them I said so. Things like manipulation. I have said it might be necessary for you to take care of your families or your extended families' basic needs if you are in a position to, but they should not be manipulating you into it. In the conversation that we were having on WhatsApp, someone said that their dad picks up their phone and tells them that your brother or your sister is coming to Nairobi and you have to write them a CV, you have to feed them, you have to host them, and you have to do everything for them because you are a firstborn. That is manipulation. That is very toxic. I did not want to comment on that because we are all emotional beings, and you see, if you highlight someone that their parents or their family is toxic, they might change the way they look at them. That is the worst form of manipulation that can happen. Like, she did not give birth to that brother or that sister. It's not her responsibility in the first place. And unfortunately, me being a firstborn, I have encountered some of these things, but I always like put a stopper to them. Because I'm a firstborn, or because I came first, or because I did this, you're not going to manipulate your way into my life. So I hope that you get that it is okay to avoid and run away from manipulation and put a stopper to it. Another toxic trait that actually came out of that is guilt tripping. Because you're the firstborn, because I did this for you, because I took you to school. But come on, you know, there was this TikTok video that went viral about a girl suing their parent because of giving birth to them without consent. I thought to myself, you see, sometimes you can actually ask these parents, who told you to give birth to me? You know, you're not going to guilt trip me into doing things that I cannot. If I'm in a position to, I'll definitely do it. But if I am not, I am not going to do it, and that is it. That is a no-go zone. Do not allow that. Another toxic behavior that is very common with parents, I wrote them down, I am forgetting. Oh yeah, it's emotional abuse or emotional control. Like you want to trigger my emotions, like you want to call me bad, you want to call me not helpful, you want to call me all these things that are going to trigger emotions, that are going to make me want to maybe spend my money on you and your activities. Like maybe you want to build, you know, you're coercing me into doing that because if I don't, I will come out as bad. Come on, that is wrong. If you are a parent, let's shy away from doing that. One thing that I want us to be, because we are the future parents who are going to impose black tax or not to our children, let's actually make sure that we take care of ourselves to avoid having or loading our kids with that. As a firstborn who has a lot of black tax, I can actually tell you how difficult it can be for someone. Like, you want to do this because maybe your peers are doing this, maybe your peers are buying houses, they're buying cars, but it's not that you cannot. It is because that you choose to take care of your family, to make sure that your mom is okay, to make sure that she has food. In the recent past, I used to feel sorry for myself because I would ask myself, why can't I be like so and so who doesn't have baggage, who doesn't have this and this? But again, it's kind of a blessing, because when you compare, and I'm actually very blessed. If I have been able to do all the things that I do with what I have been working with, come on, God loves me. I'm definitely his favorite. I usually pray that I get so much to be able to take care of my family and to take care of my personal needs, and also to ensure that I am personally growing. But again, me taking care of them does not mean that I will allow them to hold me back. No, that I will not. I only do what I can. If I am not in a position to, I'll definitely hang up or tell you I'm not going to do it. People call me harsh for that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to die trying, but of course I'll definitely try my best. One of my prayers is that he blesses me enough to be able to be a blessing to my mom. When you're coming from town, you will meet women, older women, drunk as fuck, like roaming in the streets of town, and you wonder where their kids, like you start thinking about their kids and you feel sorry for them. My mom did not choose that path. She chose to be the responsible parent, to take care of us, and one day I usually tell God to ensure that he blesses me enough so that I can be able to take care of her. I do not complain. I do not regret doing what I do. In fact, if I can be blessed more, I'll definitely do more for her. You see, there is that relationship she has built. She never manipulates you. She never tells you to do this. There's a time I used to feel like she was, but again, I assessed myself and I was like, maybe I am just overreacting. I am just overjudging. I am just being overwhelmed because of my situation, especially when I had the baby. Things got a bit thick and they got a bit tough for me. Because expenses came in. Now I need a help. I need like more bills, such things. They were a bit overwhelming, but we thank God because he will bless you. If you ask him, by the way, God will make sure things are going, and even when you don't know how they go. That is the beauty of it all. So another thing that I want to talk about is when you're identifying toxicity, identify the patterns, like the patterns and the cycle. To identify the cycle of toxicity, you need to understand what are the effects of allowing manipulations, emotional abuse, control, and how they affect your emotional health, personal and financial growth, and more. How bad are these toxic traits from either your parents, your peers, or even yourself affecting your development, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, your personal growth, and such things? So it is important that you identify toxic behavior. The third thing that you need to do is understand that you need to nurture healthy needs. Today I read a carousel. Michelle Obama wrote that you do great to attract great. You know, if you want to attract healthy behaviors, to attract healthy personalities, to attract healthy kind of relationship with people, you need to start working on your personal self. Like work on your emotional intelligence, work on your self-control, work on your reaction, how you react to things, work on how others impact you, like words. You know, when you allow too much toxicity, you become toxic. So it is important that you protect yourself. Understand that it is important to take care of yourself and be selfish. The fourth point is definitely taking care of yourself and seeking professional help if it has gotten out of hand. Some of us are usually our relationship with friends, our relationship with our family, relatives, or even a family member are usually very strained because of allowing too much toxicity, too much codependency, too much needs to interfere with healthy relationship. If it has gotten to that, seek psychosocial help. If it's not and you feel like you're being overwhelmed, like this is not working for you like you want it to, prioritize self-care habits like taking care of yourself, going for walks. When you feel overwhelmed, talk to people, talk to strangers, like every once in a while share. I always say it's not selfish to take care of yourself. Like me, personally, I am in very many groups because I'm a social human being and I'm a leader somewhere, so I have to be in several social groups. But when I don't agree with something, I will usually mute that group for a while. Then I will unmute it, and then hoping that things would have calmed down, or the toxicity would have gone down a bit. I say that you're human and it is important that you have healthy relations, you have healthy interactions with your family, with your friends, with your peers, with your workmates, and all this can actually be affected negatively by having toxic traits or encouraging toxicity in your space. Like in that group, I felt sorry for that girl. I hope if she sees this video, anyway, it is well. I felt really sorry for her because I was like, I am a firstborn. She seemed just like overwhelmed. It was her first job. Now things are too much expectation. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to communicate with her parents, to communicate with her husband. Another thing you also need to do is to understand that communication is very important. Communicate with empathy. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed, do not shy away from communicating, making sure that you're saying what is affecting you, but also having the feelings and the effect that your words or your sayings will actually have on the person that you're actually communicating to. That is communication with empathy, not sympathy. Empathize with the person you're communicating to, but be very clear. Do not allow sympathy to actually cloud your judgment, cloud your communication. No, that will be bad, and it will actually foster the toxic behaviors if they are there. In our African setup, it's very hard for us to call out parents, but you see the current trends of social media, you can actually just talk to your parent and tell them, mommy or daddy, we need to have this conversation. I am not in such a place right now. You need to give me time. You need to give me time to build on myself. This is the amount of money that I can be able to afford comfortably. Please learn to work with that. As I said, if it's not a basic need, the rest are just secondary. So they should be able to learn to live without, because if you cannot afford it, why do you expect me to afford it for you? It's just that basic. So I hope this video helped. It was rant come communication come everything mixed. So that is it from this week's conversation. I'm hoping to see you here next week for another great conversation. You can let me know in the comment section what you would like me to talk about. I am very passionate about things that affect me, things that would affect productivity, things that would affect outcomes. I'm also very passionate about politicals, but I try to avoid, because in this country of ours, if you mention one political party and you avoid another one, you might create some enmity with the other ones. We are not liberal enough to confidently accept that it's okay to have different opinions about politics, about anything. But one thing I usually say, it's okay to have different opinions. It's okay. My opinion should not be your opinion. So let me know in the comment section what you think is toxic, what you think about black tax, and maybe we can have a conversation on that on the next episode. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye. Consider subscribing, like and share.